Welcome and good afternoon to all. Welcome to the new OpenAPI webinar. Joining me today is Simone De Santis, CTO of OpenAPI. Welcome, Simone, and welcome back.
Hi, Alessandro. Thank you all for participating.
My name is Alessandro Mollicone, and I hold the position of Marketing Manager. Let's start with a small overview and a very short presentation of OpenAPI for those who don't know us yet, and a brief overview of the services that have been released and also those that will be released shortly. I will then hand over to Simone, who will go into the topic of the webinar, and I will briefly share the presentation. Let's get started. So for those who don't know us, OpenAPI was born in 2013. We have developed significant expertise over the last 10 years in the world of APIs until 2021, when we decided to launch a marketplace dedicated exclusively to the API. Originally consisting of approximately 100 products, our product range has expanded significantly to over 400 products. Initially, our primary focus was on the Italian market. We have a plan. We have expanded first from Europe and now to international, not only in terms of services, e.g. verification, data on people, identification and business information, but also as customers. We have customers in about 70 countries worldwide. Let us give a recap of the services we have released in recent weeks, some of which will also be topic of future webinars. We have now introduced an enhanced verification system for phone numbers, emails, IPs, and URLs, aiming to provide greater trust globally. All of these services operate on a global scale and provide real-time updates. Additionally, we enhanced an existing service that primarily focuses on addressing negativity. Negativity is accessible to both companies and individuals, now offered in formats such as JSON and PDF, expanding its reach beyond just businesses. We have released 3 services related to KYC, the PEP verification, i.e. of politically exposed persons, the monitoring of negative news related to a person, a private individual, a legal entity, but also, for instance, trivially to a ship. And we offer assistance with booking flights, hotels, or any online site. Additionally, we provide a service to verify if an individual is on the sanction list. We have enhanced the exercise that has already been in place for a few months now, which is the judicial acts. Now, you can opt to receive not just the paper receipt, but also the digital one, giving you more convenience and options. We have made significant improvements to the existing API named DocEngine. This enhancement not only provides access to practices like patronage, but also enables access to documents, official, who are the visas and balance sheets and services dedicated to the real estate and cadastral world. You now have the opportunity to request floor plans and map extracts with more services to explore in the upcoming weeks. Stay tuned for additional offerings that will enhance your experience. After receiving requests from many of you, we improved the land registry service as an enhancement. This was a change that we provided as part of our ongoing efforts to better serve our customers. There is the possibility to access some Cadaster information also in asynchronous mode. These ensure efficient handling of large volumes of requests by optimizing the queue of needs and handling responses effectively. We also enriched the company service with 2 additional countries, Switzerland and Poland. I remember that company is dedicated precisely to the global world. It is possible to make for different services, start, balance, and top. All companies worldwide must comply with this requirement. Then, for each country, we are developing individual services, individual APIs. What can we anticipate in the forthcoming releases? These upcoming releases will take center stage in our upcoming webinars. One of the highlights will be the debut of the RAG service concerning artificial intelligence. Furthermore, Within the next few weeks, we are set to unveil an enhanced SMS service that will operate on a global scale. Additionally, there are plans in motion to roll out an API that will offer 4 different services and methods of identification, one of which will include options for operator verification. Finally, a new service designed specifically for the Italian market is in the pipeline in response to the numerous requests we have received from our Italian user base. And there will also be an enhancement of the company world with the possibility of monitoring changes in the fields of full and having a notification of new updated data. We will enhance the company global world by allowing not only as at present the search by a numerical identifier that it could possibly be vet, or it could also be under the company's name. There will be new services, new countries available for company, and we will also soon release a couple of services for the fintech world, for example, immediate transfer and financial institution reconciliation. The subject of the webinar, which Simone will discuss in more detail. We will talk about what an MCP is, how it works in a general way, what our Openapi MCP is, which we gave some previews of between July and August with a few posts, with a few articles. We will see in practice how to configure, how to set up our Openapi MCP with the main LLM tools, and then we will see practical examples. Currently, MCP Openapi, we have verified that it works perfectly with Gemini Cloud, OpenAI, and Copilot clearly. However, it is also compatible with 78 clients that support the MCP protocol tools. Thus, all essential tools available. Let's wait and see what happens next now. Even in the coming days, we will see it strengthened. But what do you already find on the MCP? What OpenAPI services are available for requests through PC? You have access to information on over 500 million companies globally through our worldwide database. They are already available all over the automotive world. You can verify number plates of cars, motorbikes. Insurance and auditing services are available in Italy, the UK, France, and other major European countries for global coverage and compliance. The primary API services for risk management are now accessible. It is possible to perform the risk check for a company and obtain the 3 services: a start, advanced, top, and credit score. Verify the negatives of an entity, whether it is a private person or a legal entity. It is possible to access all the cadastral data of a subject, a property, subject as an owner, whether it is a legal person or a private individual, and all Italian real estate. Confirmation can also be conducted on emails, phone numbers, IP addresses, and web addresses. Utilize the universal exchange key for instant access and promptly request authorized documentation. Cannot be Chamber of Commerce or cadastral reissuer. Geographic data, including geocodes and cadastral information, is readily accessible. Take advantage of the existing wealth of information available. It is also available to worldwide services. A little focus, and then surely Simone will come back to the topic. What is the additional value of MCP OpenVR? Initially, MCP OpenVR is fully open sourced and completely available for modification. You can enjoy our services for free without any extra charges. However, if you opt for paid services, there will be costs involved. The cost of a single call, or if you have subscriptions, possibly the cost of your LLM tool if it provides for it. It provides entry to a wide array of diverse services and offerings. Primarily in real time, everything is presented in a straightforward manner through natural language, providing you with access to a vast amount of official data sources. We at Openapi are the world's top authority in ensuring data quality through certification. So, as mentioned earlier, it allows access to the data of around 500 million companies globally, and for some countries, up to 1,300 data on a single company. It provides you with a level of control, and we will further explore the services it will utilize in greater detail. MCP via the token and the Openapi MCP, we will see that it is LLM-agnostic. To tools, you are free to utilize our MCP alongside your preferred LLM tool for better results. And allows you to access synchronous services, as I said, that are the data, for example, on companies, but also Synchronous, for example, official documents. It allows you to download documents at the request stage and imagine the amount of services you have at your disposal. How many areas could our MCP potentially integrate with? A small flash, and then I will hand over the floor to Simone, who will tell us many interesting things. In the coming weeks and months, we will be physically present at these Web Summit events in Lisbon on the 13th. I remind you that we have a free ticket that we are giving away. If you're looking to explore our LinkedIn profile to learn more about how to connect with us, be sure to stop by our stand where we'll be available to chat and answer any questions you may have. Indeed, with Simone and at the next Code Motion Milan in mid-October. We will have our own stand at ESMO in Milan and look forward to seeing you at Digitasme in December. Hope to connect with you at these events soon. Summit. At this point, I would pass the floor to you, Simone.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you all. First of all, to participate, I'll get straight to the point. Let's talk about the MCP. If you are at this webinar, you have probably already heard about it. More or less understand the context in which we are working. For those unfamiliar with the MCP, let's briefly offer a hint that may benefit all individuals without a comprehensive background in the subject who are participating, let's say, more or less on the same level, and then we'll go into more detail. Thus, our showcase will predominantly feature experiments and tangible examples on utilizing this technology effectively for practical purposes. Tool. We have been in the AI environment for a few years now, and one main aspect we focused on was the credibility and genuineness of the interactions we had. Data. Only a year ago, we were at AI Week talking about the very problem of hallucinations, and so the use of agents was somewhat blocked precisely from the insecurity of the origin of the data that often came from a presumption associated with the language model utilized by the system. So the answer we got was not always reliable, and therefore in some processes, for example, the more delicate ones such as verification or prompt processes demanding explicit actions with precision, it became a bit of a problem to trust 100% in these agents who, while becoming more and more powerful and skilled in doing the most diverse operations and complex reasoning, but were completely nullified in their effectiveness by the very problem of hallucinations. We scrutinized this logic thoroughly until a solution seemed to materialize in late November, early December, after much investigation. Early December last year, from the company Anthropic, who proposed a protocol to address and resolve this issue for uniformity, standardize among all AI agents, a standard that allows access to external services. This is perhaps the most banal definition, but which fits better than to allow access to external services and thus to external data sources or services. In our line of work where we offer certified data and services, let's highlight our expertise and capabilities as a source of strength. In our marketplace, we exclusively focus on that particular aspect, and we have identified an intriguing potential opportunity. We studied this protocol that over the months, so we are talking about less than a year ago, but over the months, it has gradually been adopted by the major agent producers. We're talking about companies like Anthropic, who proposed it, but immediately afterwards, went after OpenAI, and then Google announced the integration, and now, as Alexander explained earlier, we are about, at least in the open source census list of known clients, we are about 75, 78 clients that to date support MCPs in some way. Today, we will talk without getting too technical. We will see practical demonstrations and a lot from the end user's point of view. While these tools are not tailored for expert users, they should primarily be viewed as useful tools for development purposes. So integrated onto workflows, maybe enterprise workflows via an agent, a chatbot that is connected to an agent, or even we will see today, even from the command line to perform tasks that may normally seem repetitive and complex, such as data extraction, formatting, but starting from data, official data, continuing with what we have noticed of this possibility that was created with the MCPs is basically that we were able to harness the power of various languages that we were testing with the use of data, and clearly the MCP in itself is agnostic with respect to, as Alexander said, with respect to LLM. So depending on how you configure your agent, the information that will be sent to our servers and the response that will come back from our servers will be handled differently. What is the MCP in a nutshell? So it is a system that allows us who develop it to provide in a semantic manner, hence with a very explicit description, indications on how to use the tools. Essentially, this term is used to describe the small connectors created to make use of the available tools efficiently. These connectors are designed for this specific purpose. This connection protocol operates from the discovery side. Therefore, when you link your agent to the MCP server, any new tool will be born or left, will be immediately available. And this is a very strong point in favor compared to the classic model in which individual APIs were integrated by checking the documentation, because at this point it is actually the developer of the server that provides the necessary context, and thus, in addition to the purely computer-related part, there is a very language-related part in which we seek through a series of tests that we hope will also be corroborated by many integrations of those who will decide to implement it, is the reason why we decided to release the entire software in open source. Either forks of the project or copies of the project will allow anyone to instantiate their own MCP server. In order to access the Openapi API and enhance its services descriptions, we need to establish a connection and make necessary refinements offered. So what we are going to do is to eliminate this gap that had been created between the great potential of the agents and the data that is outside the context of the agent. In this way, we go quickly towards a small example. This is how we primarily have text box or column attribute acceleration of processes, and there is no longer a need for continuous development to have access to new tools. Specifically talking about our MCP, then OpenAPI's MCP, which is available at a specific address, which is mcp.openapi.com. So connecting the LLM directly to this address, all the synchronous services of our offer are available for the moment. And we have recently implemented a series of asynchronous services with the possibility of polling. We will then see from the examples below that it is the agent who will poll it, perhaps while it is doing other operations until, for example, the measurement is ready, which is a typical product that takes perhaps more than a few seconds. And so it's not directly a normally asynchronous process, but within the flow of the conversation, we will see how this document that is nevertheless integrated is taken into account. Now, Let's go to some practical examples. I share the screen. Okay, then I'll first bring you some examples of conversations that took place in the experimental phase using Gemini. All the items you see today can be found in a repository containing all our continuously updated experiments and documentation, ensuring easy access for everyone. This topic is somewhat experimental in nature because we clearly don't know all the possible use cases. So the use cases will be our own users experimenting with them and seeing how the LLM interacts with our MCP server. This is a sample of how a command line chat works with Gemini CLI, showcasing 60 characters, which for development reasons was more prone to carry out these semantic tests. Upon initiating operations, it's crucial to consider the extensive details and guidelines posed within the initial inquiry. Breaking it down reveals significant information within the questioning process. In the specific case, we asked to create a pizzeria Terni.csv file with the address and peak of the pizzerias in the city. If this traditional procedure were performed on a person, it would require several distinct steps to achieve success. Nevertheless, these steps are efficiently carried out in some manner. The LLM, which in this case was Gemini Procus, and what happened? Basically, automatically, the people realized that it is essential to submit a request to the IT department at the company for the search endpoint. All required parameters are fully mapped and available, ensuring complete coverage of the system. You can combine people and mix them in various ways to conduct diverse searches and obtain outcomes. In this instance, he decided to conduct a search regarding the province, limiting the emphasis and enriching the results with the results of advanced. In this particular instance, the search was conducted for the term pizzeria within the name of the company. Now, this approach may be valid in some contexts, it may be less valid in others. We will then see other variants of this approach. He received the outcome, primarily comprising a substantial JSON data package, reformatted them into CSV and wrote them into the file. In this case, the Gemini CLI has the ability to write files within the file system, but only in the directory in which it was executed. In regards to security, we encountered no issues, therefore the file was successfully saved. An additional instruction has been included to request the inclusion of additional details like name, VT number, and address. Possibly consider breaking down the address into different versions as we might need them for mailing purposes using the API. For instance, one could desire the DOOG, which serves as the typical street name, also known as a street, which is often included in the whole address, but Posta Italian wants these values separated. And this is the classic task that is strange or otherwise complex to do. AI effortlessly accomplishes what is difficult for humans in programming. Interact naturally using language prompts for direct communication. Therefore, we requested to include additional fields that had always been present in the previously extracted dataset into our response. This integration now provides a more comprehensive overview within the overall conversation and context. People will continue to remember it throughout the conversation. Overwritten the file with the new information and updated it. This is basically the example of the file. We have changed the names for privacy reasons, but this is the file produced where we have all the DOOGs in the right place. All the house names split correctly. As you can see, there are no errors. The turnover is reported where the companies were actually limited companies and needed to declare the balance sheet, and therefore we have all this information. In a subsequent meeting, we were also tasked with creating a visual representation of the city in HTML format by assembling a sort of head map by size bookmark according to turnover. Clearly, these companies all have similar turnover. Here did the scale. All this is the result. If a text is inserted without verification, it implies the potential occurrence of mistakes in the content. Check the HTML code of this page to understand its structure and functionality. The system works. Let's see another example. Let's explore more intriguing conversations. I've gathered several examples directly from the Claude AI interface for us to delve into. I don't know if you see it correctly, if you read the text correctly. Let's go with this, which is a simpler example where we asked for some information, such as information on a number plate of a colleague, which I will now scroll through quickly so as not to show personal details. We inquired about the car's insurance status, and then something unexpected occurred. We completed the verification process by sending all the necessary information in a text message to a specified phone number and to our phone because you. Additionally, we requested the text code check to be conducted simultaneously, check to determine if it is legitimate and properly recorded in the text registry. We did a check on the mobile phone number. In this case, the mobile phone number is made up but apparently exists. It is under wind but is not switched on. And finally, something a little more challenging. We asked this question for, I would like to invest in an ice cream parlor in Terni, find the top 2 by turnover and give me a financial report in HTML format. Now, as you can observe, even in a simple request like this, there is a significant amount of thinking and likely a substantial amount of effort involved if one were to engage in this type of task research. Unfortunately, relying completely on Google for this type of research will provide us with incomplete and not necessarily verified data. Relying 100% on OpenAPI data, however, obliges you in some way to have an IT department that integrates the API within one of your own management system or workflow. Here we go into another completely different scenario where we have this agent who can now also make API calls to our servers. What did it do? Here, Sonnet 4 was used as LLM within Cloud. This professional version of Cloud is essentially the premium option, as the free version is limited in the number of tokens available for use. You might get access to more features and tokens with the paid version. Either limit the tokens per conversation or set a maximum amount allowed per day. Therefore, we have successfully unlocked it down there. But the standardized and open nature of MCP ensures that you can integrate it into your preferred tool or directly into the agent that is present in your software. Let's look at what happened in response to this question. First of all, a plan was made on how to work. First, I will look for ice cream parlors active in Terni. I will analyze the financial data. I will look for the first 2 to make a detailed HTML report. I started by doing a search. This time search limited the results to 20 because we asked for not too many companies anyway. Searched for the word ice cream parlor in the name of the company in the province of Terni that was active and with the data enriched with advanced so as to have the turnover available. The system provided an instant response by presenting a selection of companies that meet these specific criteria. Then went a little more specific by asking, ice cream parlors that are specifically located in Terni city are mentioned in the note. It must be noted. Note that he used the cadastral code of the city of Terni because the tool described that this code should be used to search for the city, and he already knew from his information that the city code of Terni was the one to be used. Knew that the code for the city of Terni is L107. The echo code is another interesting thing, which is the specifics of retail ice cream parlors, and we will see that then there is a small caveat. Active enriched with advanced, but it happened that it did not find any results because that echo code was evidently not the primary echo code of the ice cream parlors. So at this point, with the most generic results, he took the primary ice cream parlors and started to request a full report. to have an advanced financial status of the companies he selected. The complete report may require a couple of seconds, hence the system has gone over the limit. After a specific period of time, which is set at 45 seconds in this scenario, the system will automatically switch the request to asynchronous mode. This means that it will create an endpoint for users to periodically check for updates on the result. Shortly after, a response containing detailed information about the Girotti ice cream parlors data was received. While awaiting the results, he also requested additional data to obtain a comprehensive overview of all the chosen companies. It was essential for him to have a complete picture before making any decisions. After receiving all the data, he meticulously conducted his research until he achieved a comprehensive understanding. Utilizing this information, he meticulously crafted his financial report of the most interesting ice cream parlor in his opinion. And let's look at the contents of this report for a moment. We asked for a report in HTML, arbitrarily inserted the ice cream logo or these jokes. But that's part of the game, and the individuals may be partially swayed by different tools that are available to influence them. But these are individual clients. So here we have an in-depth report, completely generated based on real certified data, generated within a minute and a half from the moment I asked the question. The comprehensive report features a detailed financial analysis alongside advanced recommendations with the goal of offering strategic insights to aid in decision-making processes. It is highly probable that a form of artificial intelligence has generated the content of this text to some extent. Selected ice cream parlors and other ice cream parlors of interest that are not in the range of the ice cream parlors we have selected. There is an analysis of the risk and specific risks, an analysis of investment opportunities, and a final set of recommendations. Now, very interestingly, the only thing missing from this report was perhaps to add also the list of all the other ice cream parlors that had come out. In addition to the initial research findings, I have created a table for reference if needed. Furthermore, at the conclusion of the analysis, I will also keep track of other relevant information. Ice cream parlors reviewed. So in this case, I have added this table at the bottom. Among the various other ice cream shops he had visited, we considered asking him for all, but in the end, we only requested the first two. Now this is an interesting example of automation, solely controlled by natural language, devoid of any external influences. Now we are seeing it on the desktop cloud. In fact, this is the web version of the software. Nevertheless, it can be easily integrated into a business workflow, ensuring a smooth and straightforward integration process. The technology can be tailored to serve specific functions aligned with company guidelines or individual requirements, enabling it to perform designated tasks efficiently. All the interactions you have witnessed were carried out with the Openapi token, ensuring secure authentication on our platform. Console, you go to create, a token is chosen or enabled. The scopes we want to activate. If the API is not active, the specific API must be activated. And if necessary, we must complete it as there are for some services, for example, services such as contract integrations or whatnot, but everything that is activated in the token at that point is, let's say, within the possibilities of the agent. In the upstream, it's up to you to determine how and what action to take. Clearly, everything remains tied to the credit or subscriptions present at that time, and then, let's say, request would be drawn on those subscriptions. Upon subscription, the original OpenAPI systems will automatically handle requests to uphold existing security measures. This ensures seamless processing while maintaining data security. By creating limited or expiring tokens, there is the possibility, or by generating tokens periodically, there is the possibility of maintaining the necessary requirements needed to function smoothly with intricate data are fundamental standards. Let's look at some other examples. Interesting. I wanted to do a little live experiment. I don't know if you can see the screen. This is a console. I'm launching it for convenience from here. Then we'll also see some things on the client. We'll see some other experiments with other models. This is Gemini. We executed it in a particular folder to ensure correct results. Show you something first, that basically the repository where you find the data we gather from our experiments and website is carefully collected and stored for further analysis and reference. The Openapi can funding card docom dem ACP mano that we test the clients. You will eventually find all our tests linked. Then continuing, the server has been set up in a simple manner, while the client has also been configured simply by copying the test repository. However, you may notice that the configuration remains essentially unchanged, typically quite straightforward in the majority of instances. I will show you. It is a configuration file. This is the configuration file for Cloud Desktop that should be put according to your operating system in one or the other directory that basically points to our MCP server and takes as authentication the OpenAPI token. You'll notice that it remains a consistent theme in various situations, all the various systems we are trying out. So for example, in Copilot, there is the option of an automatic prompt, but the soup is a bit the same as in Gemini. There is always the same principle. There is this descriptive file where there is a list of the MCP servers that are whatever the name, that there is a URL to which the MCP server responds to. And then there is an authentication to submit. Upon encountering the client, we found that the configuration file was already in place, making it a straightforward task to proceed with editing the details as needed. We can see from this information that there is an MCP server connected with Claude AI, say, all the semantic part of the MCP server. In this mode, I see a bit of a summary of the available tools. Many had mentioned them before, Alessandro. This tool allows us to monitor the asynchronous status of requests previously identified, including email and IP checks. It provides a way to ensure the completion of these tasks. Verifying a number plate is similar to verifying a mobile phone, a URL, or downloading a Visura document. Access the official Italian Post Office database of postcodes that vary. So every 6 months, there is some variation. So having certain data on a postcode, or rather than another reason for frequent discards in electronic invoicing, was resolved by updating the postcode. This helps us reduce the occurrence of errors and improve the overall efficiency of the system. Checking the postcodes on time on this service, the geocoding service allows for converting an address into geographic coordinates, enabling precise location identification. Geographic and vice versa, access to company IT. We have covered all potential endpoints, including the search function with fully mapped search fields. Feel free to make unique and imaginative requests using our platform. Consider carefully, such as taking measurements before proceeding with extractions. To check for availability, utilize the company search's dry run parameter for retrieving the count of results. And this function is commonly used for estimating a hypothetical number of available results, a cost of the enrichment if you specify it. And this mechanism from various experiments we have done is understood by the language model, because if I ask how many ice cream parlors there are, he will go for a dry run without spending any credit, because it is described in the correct way within of, as you see, this is perhaps the most complex description. This behavior is fully described within the tool descriptor, which, as you can see, is completely semantic. And what we do is refine these. All we do is improve refining skills. text in English, which comes in for convenience, for the simplicity of the English language in understanding itself with people. And then it gets to people and keeps it in mind as a context. So it already knows how to use it in the best way. As we have seen it, we'll make more attempts and we'll look for more ways. If there are little blinds, it will look for, there are additional methods available to find the solution to the question that was posed. So here now we have seen the list of tools. Let's go and ask a trivial question like, how much are 10 euros in China today? The system is analyzing the question. It has realized that in order to answer it in a comprehensive manner, it has to ask the MP, where MPI has an internal service which deals precisely with the exchange rate of currencies on a daily basis. So this today, deciphering the cryptic and challenging question proved to be a daunting task due to its mysterious nature. The client will need to confirm whether we should proceed with the IP call or opt for a definitive translation instead. This decision is crucial for our next steps. Specific tool or the entire server. The question has been asked, the answer has arrived. As you can see, the timescales are practically nil, and the answer today, 11th of September 2025, 10 euros are worth 83,332 Chinese yuan. This happened, as you see, in real time. There was no need to. Integration is only possible up to the configuration file, with no further options available. As we have seen, in about 75 clients enabled today, but the standard has basically already been adopted by the major industry players. So you will find integrations for Gmail, as for Google Drive, as for GitHub, Reddit, or any Spotify or any other online service must furnish tools and data typically available for users efficiently through their platform, through the API. And this is where we observed a example. I wanted to show you another possible example. In all our tests, we have constantly used Copilot to test everything that we have worked on. So essentially, the same concept applies here. As you can see, there is this configuration file that is automatically recognized by Copilot, for example, in VS Code, and gives us the ability to interactively initiate the connection to the MCP server. And as you see, you can then query by putting it is feasible to obtain information directly by interacting with the chatbot in agent mode. It is acknowledged that in order to address this inquiry, the appropriate action would be to utilize the specific endpoint that provides information on municipalities. Postcode from CAP. He made the call, got the response, and is currently interpreting the answer. The answer by now showing here the answer in a, let's say, technical format, and the answer summarized. In this instance, we are referring to the same server within the system. We have utilized GPT 4.1 in this case, as compared to our previous step, where we observed its effectiveness. Gemini 2.5 Pro, and in the other example, we were using Cloud Sonnet 4. Basically, these are the main points. These aspects make the MCP service very variable, because depending on the accuracy of the configuration, the size or precision of the model utilized, as well as the available options, play a crucial role in its effectiveness. When it comes to the breadth of context covered by tokens, these factors play a significant role in influencing outcomes. My encounter using this tool has been quite informative and exciting. What we suggest is that you try it out if you are interested in integrating it into your workflow. Experiment with your workflow, test it to discover the perfect equilibrium between, for instance, wordiness and conciseness. avoiding the use of unnecessary words, and selecting the most appropriate model for the job are key factors to consider in this type of work. Models that perform tasks such as complex reasoning or utilize advanced response techniques for more in-depth analysis. Response clearly give extraordinarily more accurate and even more satisfactory results in terms of the information of how the information is processed. But the important point is that the information that comes back is certain, and this is really the great paradigm shift compared to the traditional use. The traditional practice involved towing these models with everything inside, ensuring that everything remained in good condition. The solution to this issue was either a complex system or one that was highly tailored to the specific requirements of the project. By doing so, you are able to offer individuals the necessary tools and information, allowing them to access resources in a different manner. The service we are offering for free as open source is intended for the wider community of companies and professionals. We hope that it will benefit those in the industry who are currently seeking solutions. We are beginning to experiment with using these tools in a professional setting, and we are optimistic about the possibility of ultimately releasing all of them together. These specifications, this software in open source, together we will be able to better understand this, which is an extremely evolving process in these days. Testing the different companies we have employed for testing software solutions in this webinar include OpenAI and a variety of others we have utilized in the past, to Gemini or to Anthropic, who have changed things during the week, because these models change and you update the software and all the clients improve. And it is thanks to the feedback from the professionals who use them that they can be improved. And we will certainly see, although today the results are quite satisfying, suggesting the possibility of achieving even better outcomes with the same tool in the future. Looking forward to receiving even more advanced and comprehensive responses tomorrow, even more satisfactory. I nearly wrapped up by discussing what you can anticipate to happen next. In what do we plan to integrate in the future? Definitely, most of the services will be integrated, including all PEPI services and the top ones. Stay tuned for the exciting developments ahead. Post-taker engine, all risk records, all cadastral services, postal services, and digital services such as timestamping and digital signature affixing. This by means of the tools provided, which are the prompts, i.e. the possibility of requesting at runtime an additional question against, let's respond with a counter question instead of fulfilling the request. Digital signature services and the in-depth search all over the world for configuration guides and everything else. I refer you to our website, openapi.com. First, MCP, where you will find all the new information updated in almost instantly. We share all new discoveries and client test results regarding this technology in real time. Our continuous experimentation and testing process is pivotal for understanding its capabilities. Our attention is currently on customers who come and go quickly, recognizing their short lifespan in our business operations. Large market participants are present, but there is significant excitement in this regard that I will illustrate to you swiftly. The list of currently supported clients directly on the modelcontactprotocol.io project site. The list of the clients, the Openapi MCP server uses the tools, and as you can see from this column, they are currently supported by practically all the clients that also support MCP. Among them, we have Copilot, which we have seen, Gemini CLI, and Claude AI, which we have seen, Search GPT, and so on. With this last piece of information, I have finished my speech. I leave you to Alessandro, and I don't know if there are any questions. In the meantime, if they have arrived,
Simone, a lot of questions have arrived. Some I have already started to answer at the chat level. I remember one thing who has entered the webinar already in progress. You can review the entire webinar from Monday on our YouTube channel. So somebody was asking me, do you see the questions in the Q&A correctly? So which one do we want to start with? Marcello inquired about the current flow of requests at the ice cream shop. The final solution. To make more open API queries and thus to consume more credits.
The answer is yes, depending on the type of query. From the experiments we have done, it depends a lot on how you query things. So for example, if at the beginning you want to know an order of magnitude, and then we are going to ask how many, rather than make a list which are two slightly different things, that kind of search will all be free because it is the nature of the API that allows for that kind of approach anyway. Clearly, depending on the enrichment, then we have, if we enrich the data, there is a normal API call. In the specific case, also to give, let's say, one order of magnitude, there are a number of limitations also built into our context that prevent them from returning more than a certain number of results, if not specified in the application. So there is a kind of soft limitation if no one intervenes, and the model in the user to modify it has certain results, which kind of limits this aspect. But also, yes, basically to control this aspect, the longevity of the token and the credit present are, however, let's say in relation to the calls. Wait. Now let's see.
This question about the cost of the single accumulated call, shall we answer it?
So there is something more technical than Ivano. In our backend, we already make requests to your API and to external LLM systems. In both cases, we send requests and receive structured responses, usually JSON. Your MCP can keep sending structured input, or you can switch to natural language if you prefer. Either option works for us and is greatly appreciated. This mainly depends on the LLMs, because the LLMs in the specific case you have developed are connected externally to the MCP, so it acts as a bit of a bridge. When you present data in a structured manner, similar to how you receive an organized response, the LLM will either break down or rearrange the information itself. The process remains unchanged regardless of the format in which the data is provided. In theory, at least from our experiments, it also understands structured data very well. It is clear that in the context of the MCP, you have already done the hard work of implementing individual APIs according to your specific requirements. This solution of the MCP goes some way to bypassing that clearly with the black box, I call it. Without being conditioned, the LLM relies on its own thinking to make decisions. Its autonomy is crucial for it to function effectively and independently. So, do we have to use our tokens, these IP, GPT, Gemini, Cloud, or does the MCP token already completely manage the interface and access to the models? No, it's a bit the other way around. Basically, the model access part remains identical as it is depending on the model, the API, the libraries used in constructing the model software processing. Usually, they offer the capability to establish a connection to the MCP server. Subsequently, analyze the situation and select the appropriate tool. Therefore, in that specific situation, you will possess either your token or your API key, GPT chat, or OpenAI in short, or when using the free version of Cloud, you'll find that it generally functions well. Gemini, on the other hand, is known for its smooth performance. Links so clearly to connect two technologies. You will have two separate tokens, one for accessing the LM and one for accessing the API calls via the MCP server. David inquires whether by utilizing the Gemini API or GPT chat and setting up your MCP server, you could access the diverse information directly for increased efficiency, correct? Yes, exactly the summary of the webinar in 12 words. Exactly. Are there examples on your repo to create an internal demo for our organization? Then we are at this moment among the 2,000 documentations in the server itself. We are at this moment experimenting, creating a chatbot from these very technologies, and that too will be released open source. You see, certainly by the end of the month, we are finalizing the last preparations with the launch of our new public repository. Our fresh GitHub page is now open to the public. We will lay out the whole new set of open source software. You will easily locate the OpenApi MCP server, allowing you to safely clone it directly. Take advantage of the straightforward option available. Implement the provided text without relying on external tools, allowing you to personalize it according to your needs. All the descriptions and methods we received were examined closely, semantic ones, where we go to describe the tools, and you can, for example, inhibit some of them or give specific directions also to answer the previous questions. Specific directions where you say, don't make a request to the service for every question I ask. This is an illustration of how limitations can be implemented using everyday language in a self-explanatory manner. Let's say people's actions. So let's see. Then as far as David is concerned, he asks if it is possible to save the number of calls made to your API in order to have an internal report. Usually you can access this data either through the API or directly from our console. There is a user-friendly panel available in the console for convenient viewing of the information consumption. Shortly, we have planned a variety of updates and significant improvements for our console, incorporating requested future specifications from our customers to enhance their overall experience. Yet, as the customers have been asking us for over time, while including the parceling of expenses and statistics per token, so it will be possible to go and analyze exactly what a specific token did, what it spent, and look at statistics per token instead of per endpoint or for the entire organization. I would like to take this opportunity to anticipate among the various other new features we are introducing in the console, the possibility of create organizations and thus grouping work groups under one organization, several figures, including perhaps the person who signs the contract, and let's say the legal entity, the developer, perhaps the administration that deals with, possibly responsible for managing subscriptions or monitoring credit control. Let's proceed with the questions. Certainly, at the conclusion, I can provide you with the total cost for the entire project as agreed upon. You already have the breakdown of expenses within the console. However, I will provide it soon. Ready these new services, it will also be possible to ask the MCP directly how much I have spent, or perhaps to include this information already in the outputs. We all see more or less similar questions on this topic. Let's see. Allora.
We have more or less two answers, but they are the same questions asked you in different ways.
Anyway, hoping to have answered them all, I remind you that the recording of this webinar will be available on YouTube. If you have any further questions afterwards, you are welcome to comment below the YouTube video and ask us there. Anyway, we check that aspect as well and try to answer you from there as well, or contact us through the normal channels, which now, maybe Alessandro, we will briefly reminisce and then would gladly engage in a discussion on this matter. Let's cherish this moment and enjoy our conversation. And we'll see, it looks very promising, especially from the point of view of, let's say, high-level automation activity.
By the way, for those who will be there, we could meet up a few weeks. Perfect. So if there are no more questions, we will goodbye and wish you a good evening, good work, and see you at the next webinar. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you all. Goodbye.